Hi everybody, welcome to the South Australian Sports Show. Hope you can stay with us for the next hour. Plenty coming up on the show. My co-host, of course, Crows Premiership player, Kimmy Costa, joins me. Kim, how are you?
I'm going very well. Phil, yourself?
Very well, mate. Now, it's been a big week for footy. I want to ask you this before we get deep into the show. Collingwood-Essendon Anzac Day game this week. Should it always be Collingwood-Essendon?
Do you know what? I like it. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I really like it. If you were ever going to change it, probably do something like they do in the SANFL with the grand final teams, but I reckon keep it the same. You know, they've been doing it for a long time, and I think now everyone does enjoy watching it. And as long as it's a great game, I don't care.
Has it been a great game for the last decade, though? This one will be, Wednesday nights was a beauty.
Yep.
But it hasn't been that way for a while.
No, it hasn't. But you know what? I reckon the way it's all going this year, we don't know what you're going to get, but I reckon it might be a cracker.
All right, it could be a cracker. Let's find out what's happening in sports news. Here we go.
Thanks, guys. Here's what's making news in sport. Absolute devastation at Amy Park as Adelaide United have failed to overcome their bitter rivals, Melbourne Victory. An 89th minute goal from Bessart Barisha sent the Reds packing in the A-League elimination final. Melbourne will go on to face Sydney, while the Reds will shift their focus to next season's campaign. The South Australia Masters Games in Murray Bridge took place over the weekend, giving many older South Aussies the opportunity to showcase their athletic talents. The Games feature more than 20 sports, ranging from clay target shooting all the way to futsal. The combination of fun-spirited competition and variety of social events throughout the weekend highlighted the best that South Australia has to offer in the area of sport. While many South Aussies took out first place, Sports SA CEO Jan Sutherland and Craig Victory particularly stood out in the dragon boat racing. The 2019 Games will be held in Adelaide this time next year. Crows AFLW senior coach Beck Goddard has left the club after announcing she wishes to pursue her career in the Australian Police Force. Goddard is credited as the first elite national women's premiership coach after leading her team to a premiership in 2017. The Crows have stated her replacement will be announced in the coming weeks. An undermanned Crows outfit have stunned the Swans over the weekend with a gutsy 10-point win, while Port Adelaide fell to the Cats at home. Both teams will go in as favourites next week, with the Crows taking on the Suns and the Power travelling to Victoria to play North Melbourne. The Matildas have seen history repeat itself as they suffered a 1-0 loss to Japan in the Asian Cup final. The Matildas dominated the game and had their chances, including a first-half penalty, but failed to convert. A late strike from substitute Kuni Yokoyama was enough to send the girls home empty-handed. The Adelaide 36ers have made their first big move of the off-season with the recruitment of young big man Harry Froling. The 20-year-old fits perfectly into the squad following the departure of Matt Hodgson, who signed with Brisbane last week. Froling is expected to add a much-needed boost to the Adelaide forward line in their 2019 campaign. Adelaide's own Tanasi Kokonakis has suffered a knee injury in the early stages of his French Open preparation. Kokonakis was left in crutches after tripping over an advertising sign in the Monte Carlo last week. He will be hoping to make his mark in the comp and to continue to build his confidence following his victory over Roger Federer last month. South Aussie Charlie Hodges has been upgraded into the senior Adelaide Thunderbirds squad. She temporarily replaces injured Shasta Glasgow while she experiences ongoing rehabilitation from an injured ankle. Hodges massively stepped up in the pre-season, with head coach Dan Ryan naming her as one of the big improvers in the program. And that's the news. Back to you guys.
Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Well, Kimmy, time to get to the master on tipping. So we've put the heat on you, mate. Tonight, of course, the Bulldogs sitting in 16th spot. They're up against Carlton in 18th at Etihad. Carlton yet to have a win, although they were pretty good last week, only going down by 10 points to West Coast. The Doggies, of course, got thumped by Freo by 54. What do you think?
Well, being an old Doggies boy, I've still got a little bit of a soft spot for them. They are struggling big time. I haven't really, I've actually tipped Carlton every game so far and they've given me nothing. But I'm going to go the Dogs, but I bet you Carlton probably get up and win, so there it is.
All right, going for the Doggies. All right, Cardinia Park, Geelong in 5th, Sydney in 9th. I think most people are surprised that Sydney are sitting in 9th spot at the moment. Got a good look at Geelong, of course, last week here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Geelong be too good. I think Sydney got a couple of pretty big outs in Buddy and Hanbury, so I reckon the Cats will get up there.
The Cats will get them, all right. The Docklands, of course, Power up against North Melbourne, so North Melbourne were unbelievably impressive last week against the Hawks. Port disappointing against Geelong. Can they bounce back?
No, I'm way off Port. I've never ever tipped Port in my life. I can't do it. My old man is a mad Port supporter. Like, I'm talking mad. I never tipped them in my tip, so no, North Melbourne, easy.
Oh, so it's a well thought out tip. Yeah, okay. Put on into
Easy.
it. All right, Spotless Stadium on Saturday night. GWS sit in second, only the one loss this season. Brisbane in 17th, 5 losses. They've been inconsistent though. They've been close, then they've been horrible the next week. This week?
Yeah, no, they have. Like you said, they've tried. They've been competitive, but I think GWS will be too strong.
Brisbane last beat GWS, mate, back in round 21, 2013. So we won't be predicting it.
No.
It's going to happen this game here. Hawthorn in 6th, St Kilda in 15th. St Kilda looked like they should have won last week. The Hawks normally respond under Clarko after a loss.
Yeah, they do. St Kilda are interesting. I've sort of tried to tip them a few times and they let me down. And then obviously last week the draw. I'm actually going to go St Kilda. I reckon they could be on the right track.
Mate, you're feeling on a draw in footy? Is it? Should there be a little overtime or no? Leave it as it is.
Yeah, nah, draw. Especially, yeah, grand final. No, overtime. You go in overtime, but draw.
In the season?
Yeah.
Draw. You like the draw, okay.
Yeah.
Crows are in 7th spot, mate. The Gold Coast in 11th. They've improved a lot under Stewie Dew. Have they improved enough to beat the Crows?
Look, you know what? They've probably achieved more than what everyone else thought they were going to do already. But look, I think Adelaide, coming off their strong win against Sydney at home, I reckon they'll get the chocolates.
All right, mate. Your boy Simon Goodwin coaching Melbourne. They sit in 14th, Essendon in 13th. A short turnaround for Essendon, of course, because they had the midweek game on Wednesday. Melbourne have had a fair bit of criticism in the last week. Are they going to respond?
Yeah, they have. I reckon if they get done this week, the heat will be right on Goody, I would have thought. But I still believe that Essendon will beat Melbourne. I reckon Melbourne have just got some demons creeping in there. Just can't, get a bit shaky, but I think Essendon.
Essendon, all right. Collingwood in 12th spot. Richmond in 4th. They're at the MCG. Of course, Collingwood in a similar situation to play on Wednesday night. The Tigers sitting, waiting, nice and fresh.
Tigers, easy. Easy. Dusty Martin, seriously. You have a few players over your career that you go, oh, he's a star, love him. Chris Judd was mine before. Dusty Martin, seriously, is a star. Watched a little bit of him, and people, I suppose, the word I'm looking for will come out in a minute. Dusty's doesn't push back hard enough, and do you know what? He doesn't have to, because he's got his own teammates that are guiding for him and get him on the way back, mate. But no, he's a star in Richmond.
Could he win the Coleman medal? I mean, there was some talk that he had a little hip injury and he was getting rested, although I don't know that you get rested and kick 6 goals, but is he a chance if he played there for the season? Could you see him win the Coleman?
Mate, he could. He can do everything. He's won everything else.
That's what I'm saying. He's got everything else.
He's got everything else. He is a great player, and everyone says he's complete. Well, people say no because he doesn't push back hard. Mate, you don't have to. When you're a star and you got your teammates giving it to you, and you can give it. Dusty don't argue and run forward and kill opposition. He's the best in the comp at the moment. He's better than Danger.
I don't think he needs to push back because I think he gets the footy.
Mate,
so
he
there's
does.
no need to push back when you get the footy, mate. Last one, Freo in 10th spot, West Coast in 1st. Most people didn't predict West Coast to be in this spot. So West Coast have won the last 5 times these two teams have clashed in Perth.
Yeah, I can't take Freo. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. You think one week they'll be okay and they don't. So, West Coast for me. I just can't pick Freo.
Done. All right, stay with us. Still a bit more to come.